Happy holidays! Yes, it's that time of the year again, Christmas. Hi, my name's Narissa. This year, as we celebrate Christmas, I implore you not to take Christ out of Christmas. To our customers and listeners, new and old alike, thank you for your continued support. And as we look forward to a new year, we encourage you to keep listening to WeFM. Merry Christmas from all of us to you.
WEFM, the clean, fresh sound.
Hey Lennox, thanks for the ride home, boy. But wait, Lennox, what's that? That's my shoe? Wait, that's my pants? But my clothes going outside. Don't tell me the girl dash me out. Oh gosh. Girlin', oh Lord, I'm coming. Girlin', I'm begging for a lodging. Oh, the woman dash me out this morning. She throw me out on Christmas morning. Well, the comrade give me back pay. So me and me friends them lime and hold it. Drinking and paranging like we don't get. What? But when I reach home, it's no minute. Girlin', oh Lord, I'm coming. Girlin', I'm begging for a lodging. Oh, the woman dash me out this morning. She throw me out on Christmas morning. Well, I make her stop my major. All you don't know, major, is me neighbor. He bring out the best he had to offer. All this time my clothes they in the gutter. Girlin', oh Lord, I'm coming. Girlin', I'm begging for a lodging. Oh, the woman dash me out this morning. She throw me out on Christmas morning. The girl throw me out she house. Yes, the woman dash me out she house. Man, she have me sleeping all about. And have people running up the mouth. Girlin', anybody sing girlin'? Girlin', I wonder why she don't dance it. Girlin', 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 oh Lord, I'm coming. Girlin', I'm begging for a lodging. Oh, the woman dash me out this morning. She throw me out on Christmas morning. Let me make my resolution. Abstinence is the only solution. I promise to ease up on the alcohol. One bottle a day, that's all. Girlin', oh Lord, I'm coming. Girlin', I'm begging for a lodging. Oh, the woman dash me out this morning. She throw me out on Christmas morning. Girlin',
The clean, fresh sound of the nation.
Good morning again, St. Vincent and Grenadines. Would just like to remind you that Searchlight Midweek is now online. Here are the leading stories. Police and mechanic appear in court on firearm charges. Presidents Ali and Maduro to meet in SVG Thursday. It will be an opportunity to clear up issues, says President Maduro. President Ali, however, says there will be no negotiations on the border controversy at the legacy event. Bail surety made to pay $10,000 after young accused escapes to Grenada. Is your big belly placing you in big trouble? Read why moringa should be a part of your daily diet. Vinci Coach shares expectations on the under 15 cricket squad. More sports and kitchen corner. Remember to check out our video stories on YouTube and download the free Searchlight app to access our e-paper and get breaking news and updates. Searchlight, journalism you can trust. Check us out online at searchlight.vc.
Nothing else sounds as good as
WEFM, the clean, fresh sound.
Activated Mornings on WeFM 99.9 is on now.
Harry, you're supposed to be singing now.
And
Why
we're
you don't
back
stick? Why you don't
at
stick when I trying to sing?
12 this morning. And welcome back to Activated Morning. This morning, you're listening to myself and Roleza here this morning. Remember, the program is interactive. The number to call is 457-9997. The number to WhatsApp is the same, 457-9997. And we are live on YouTube and Facebook. Now, before we spoke about the Face First saga, intended to hop into the conversation that the PM had. Well, not really a conversation, but the information he gave to the nation last week when he held his press conference, and that's that he proposes to change how the court handles criminal matters. Now, this is particularly interesting to me. I'm reading from Eyewitness News. It says the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is proposing to change how the law courts handle certain criminal matters. Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves spoke about the proposed changes during a press conference during which he said his administration has a clear strategy on crime. Gonsalves, who is the Minister of National Security and Legal Affairs, told the media on Thursday that his government wants to extend the time for which police can hold a suspect without charge, among other changes to the law. I don't know.
Why is it I thought you were going to have a problem with that? Why did I think that? I hate focusing on, I hate focusing on something. I say, boy, and I listen. I say, boy, I know I'm going to comment on this.
That's something to have a problem with.
Oh, we can talk about it after read the rest.
That's something clear to have a problem with.
Oh,
anyways,
Lord.
He went on to say he had discussions with individuals from the regional judiciary and with the director of public prosecution, with the police and previous commissioner, and now this commissioner, on a number of other reforms. He said, we have done some important reforms already in relation to evidence procedure, but we need to do more. We probably will have to go to Parliament to extend the time for which you can hold someone. Now it's 48 hours, maybe longer, Gonsalves said. And we need to remember that the Prime Minister is a practice lawyer for a number of years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he also said we have done something in relation to preliminary inquiries, but Defense Counsel will still insist on the preliminary inquiry rather than having what you may call a paper committal with the statements being made, and the defense will say, well, okay, we'll go straight to trial. So, a preliminary inquiry is a legal process through which a magistrate determines if the prosecution has enough evidence for a jury to consider in determining whether someone is guilty or not guilty of a charge. Preliminary inquiries are conducted in two forms: a paper committal, in which a magistrate, prosecutor, and lawyer for the defendant read through the evidence in the presence of the defendant, or witnesses come to court and give evidence and are cross-examined. If witnesses come to court to testify and the person is committed to stand trial, it means that the witnesses will have to testify twice at the magistrate's court and before the High Court. Gonsalves said that a lot of time lawyers reject paper committals not because of the merits of the case, but they're trying to fatten their pockets by being paid for two trials, basically. So he's saying that he wants to cut that out. I don't agree with that either, but we'll keep going. He said this means that the country would have to have more judges because cases would move through the system faster. I don't have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
He said a case is being made to abolish jury trials for murder and other offenses. I also have a problem with that. He's quoted saying, have by judge alone all of these matters. I'm telling you that as Minister of National Security, I'm giving serious reflection upon for a public conversation, because it would mean that we will be changing in some fundamental ways some matters, the way some criminal matters have been dealt with, but the circumstances may well justify and continuing discussions on these matters. He said he was anticipating some pushback from human rights activists to the proposed changes to the law. So we have a call. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning to Roleza.
Morning,
Good
Dave.
morning.
First of all, let me commend you, Ari, for how you were focused yesterday in yesterday's conversation. what the topic was again, but the way the way you were dealing with with Dr. Gerald Thompson as well. You see, and I am disappointed in the fact that the law, where the law is concerned, it is important to all of us in this country, especially for those of us who don't know our rights, our legal rights and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I have different components, in regard of the law, how the law is dealt with and so on. And let me let me commend the revived, if I can call it that, SVG Bar Association for the action they have taken in connection with our new
senior magistrate. Yes, I think it's raised valid points.
Yeah, but it must be. And I am disappointed, like I was saying, that we have so much noise in this country. A lot of people have gone into law, and I don't hear much discussion. Let me appeal to the SVG Bar Association that you have a very important role to play in this society, especially for those of us who are dummy or dumb as far as the law is concerned. There were times when Pierre Campbell were around, when the SVG Bar Association was very involved, and also the late Nicole Sylvester, as a woman, she was championing, legal rights in terms of the SVG Bar Association. I hope that, what's her name there, the new head there, very tiny woman, but I think she's capable of lifting the bar higher and higher and higher. So it is a very important part of any civilization where the law is concerned. It has to play a very important role. And a lot of us in this country doesn't know our A from our B when it comes to the law. And I would hope that the SVG Bar Association do a lot of open forum or public education in terms of the law. Otherwise, we could be easily misled and fooled by the powers that be. Yeah. It is our responsibility to deal or try and be a part of this whole legal process to understand what our rights and so on is all about. Something else I was going to mention, I lost my train of thought there. But I'm glad, like what you just read there, for instance, with all these proposed changes. Come on, we have to get activated. Let us get activated. And I hope more people, like I say, we have too much lawyers in this country not to be saying anything and making us more aware of how, what goes on with the law here. Thank you.
All right, thanks,
Dave. All right, just to note one thing though, Dave, if I'm not mistaken, the Bar Association, I have seen, at least I think on 2 occasions, where they've had free legal clinics. So that's just one thing. In terms of the advertising of it and the dissemination in terms of those persons who actually need to utilize the services or need to get more information regarding legal advice. I'm not sure how well it filters down, but I think I have seen at least on 2 occasions, they've held at least 2 free legal clinics, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, if tuning in, we're talking about the proposed changes to how criminal matters are handled, and the story is in Eyewitness News. I'm not sure if it's in Searchlight or any other news entity, but it was comments made by Prime Minister where he says the government has clear strategies on how to deal with these things. So he proposed a longer holding period than 48 hours, no jury in murder cases, and a preliminary inquiry hearing as opposed to a paper committal. And he says that there will be more judges and it will mean more judges, so the cases will go through the proper channels quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that police should have the power to hold anybody for more than 48 hours without a charge. That is wild to me.
I don't know how I feel about it. I really don't know if I have an opinion on it, because I do understand where you're coming from. But sometimes in some instances, it does take time to gather evidence, right? And holding some person may just allow for that to happen. But I think it probably depends on how long the time is going to be, what is proposed.
Number one, what about persons who are innocent? Just off the bat, you pick up the wrong person. Number two, what about persons who live by their jobs, their means of income is their job? They miss 2 days of work. That's it. No excuse. The employer wants to know why police had to hold you in the first place. Now your professionalism and your ethics in question. God, why is it that you are under the scope of the police? Number three.
But they could ask the same question even if they hold them for 48 hours, though. The same thoughts can come up.
Yes, that is true. But a longer period is more questions. So if, let's say, police hold me on Friday night, I go through the Saturday and Sunday and I find. But then Monday comes, or Tuesday comes, because we don't know how long they're going to propose it for. And what about police who have issues with people, personal issues with people? So you mean to tell me if I have issue with my neighbor do something I don't like, or somebody talking to my partner, my girlfriend, my boyfriend, I want to teach them a lesson, I hold them in prison without charge.
Well, I wonder what the terms would be, though, Ari, in terms of what the circumstances are. Maybe it might be for serious cases, let's say for murder or whatever, where you have to gather that evidence.
We'll see.
Right? Your reason, your whole facial expression has me amused.
We'll see.
That point that was made of trial by judge, doing away with juries. I know that in some, well, this is my knowledge just comes from news and documentaries, right? But there are some instances where persons do have an option of whether they wish to be tried by jury or to have a judge, right? So I think if it's a case where maybe that option can happen, if you think that maybe a judge might be a bit more biased in their judgment or determination or whatever, that you prefer to have a trial by jury, then I think the option should be there. I want to believe that the reason why that some of this is happening is because, well, in terms of the trial by judge or by jury, might be to help to speed matters along, because there are many times when we would comment on how long it takes for matters to be before the court and for matters to even be heard and for a judgment to be given. So maybe in this case, having a system like this where you don't necessarily have to do to get a jury together and wait on a jury in a sense, it might be better in this case to move matters along speedily. That's what I'm thinking of.
Jury don't hand down sentencing, right?
The judge hands down sentencing, right? But the jury still has to come to their decision, right?
And it depends. So sometimes the same judge will still have to take time and review the case and come to his decision,
right?
So in that aspect, I don't think it really matters.
It doesn't speed things along. You don't think it might?
Think so.
I don't know, because I mean, having more judges appointed, and maybe yes. While it is that I'm not 100% opposed to our newly appointed senior magistrate, I think having more judges appointed, not necessarily with a police background, would help in this situation, right? And maybe having both processes, trial by jury and trial by judge, would help to move things along quickly.
I feel safer. And I know in movies and in a lot of cases, people say, boy, we don't know if we want to go to trial because with a jury, you never know. But I feel safer being judged by a jury of my peers than one singular person.
There's something I was going to ask that I just complete. When somebody pleads guilty here, do you still have to have a trial by jury? What
No, you don't
happens?
need to have a trial. You read the facts of the case, and then
Um,
you start with your mitigating and agitating factors.
Okay.
They don't need to you no longer need to defend your case. You plead guilty, so
Okay.
you're agreeing with what the crown brings against you.
Okay.
But I feel a lot safer with a jury on my pets. Who knows? Maybe it can be beneficial, maybe not. I feel like it's more, what's the word I'm looking for? I feel you have a fair chance with a jury on your pets.
I always
a
find
judge.
I always find interesting when you say jury of my peers. Who exactly are my peers?
Yeah,
Are we on the
every
same
living sunshine.
socioeconomic level? Do we have the same? So will we socialize the same way? I know it's a term. I know
I think they try
it's
to.
what the term that is used, but
I think in jury selection they try to be as diverse as possible. So you're not going to be a whole lot of bank workers on the jury. You have people of different walks of life, and I think that's where the term really comes from. So it's people who should be able to relate to you, everyday people, not just one group of people, one class of people. There's also the PI versus the paper committal. I feel like reading a case as opposed to listening to the actual emotions and the actual experiences from the persons, from the witnesses involved is a huge difference. And if the PM is saying that the lawyers only do it for the money, if you bring in judges, is it that you want to take the money from the private practitioners and put it into governments who are to judges who are in the system? So what's the difference really? I do get the main difference is to speed up the process. But the Rock got a preliminary inquiry, for example. That was a PI, and in that PI, the persons were found that they don't have enough evidence to go to high court. Now, maybe I have it wrong, and if a lawyer is listening, they'll correct me, but I feel like it will cost the court less to have a matter in magistrates or serious offences court than the high court, especially now the high court under renovations. But that's my opinion. The 48-hour whole to add more time to that.
I wonder why, Ari. I wonder why.
No, because I could think of many malicious reasons why a police officer could grab somebody off the street and just have the, like in Carnival, they love to say, I go hold the whole weekend. You ain't having no Carnival. And Carnival is just one example, because I'm pretty sure they do the same thing for Christmas, but people don't talk about it. But yeah, they usually say once they grab you on Friday, you ain't coming out. So,
but I know that sometimes it happens with persons who they know are disruptive, or if they have exhibited signs of being disruptive for maybe their safety and everybody else's safety, hold them.
I think it's inhumane for persons to feel like, yeah, you grab them for the 2 days. I don't know. That 48 hours are just sitting right with me.
Yeah. But, well, I'm looking at it in cases where the evidence gathering part of it, I can understand, just needing a bit more time, because this is one of the other problems that we have with our system, in that the lack of evidence, right? Lack of forensic evidence, etc. That is where we have a major problem. And a lot of the cases are dependent on eyewitness testimony, right? So if we're talking about, or if we're asking for police to do a lot more forensic testing, etc., being able to hold that person while they get that information together may help. We're hoping that it helps.
Well, right? Hopefully more information comes to light and we're able to discuss this further. We'll just read one comment before we go to break. Trevor says, the problem with the law has more to do with the practitioners of the law than the law itself and the enforcers. That's me. I said on the enforcers. He further said, the practitioners have a disconnect between the real world and the world in which they live. Excuse me. It is more about the ability to win an argument for clients, even if the evidence clearly points to the even. Law practitioners look at life as black and white, while it's shades of gray. And that's how I feel about doing solely paper committal, because it's not black and white. There are shades of gray. There's some color, there's some purple, there's some green, there's some orange. It ain't black and white at all. And if I think minimizing people's lives, because these court processes are people's lives, to paper commenters where you just read it and say, this song. Because we know the book doesn't always translate to the movie. But that's my opinion. I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens more. Hopefully, there's further dialogue and we get more information in the coming weeks to months.
All right, so take a break.
Yep.
All right.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's the whole